Hey food fans, welcome back to Then We Eat. This week we'll be doing a little outdoor activity because fall is in the air. It's actually quite chilly here today, but it's perfect weather to smoke some cheese. Although we actually already have a smoker for your normal meats, chicken, that kind of stuff, in order to smoke cheese, we need to do a cold smoke. So we picked this kit up from Athens Hardware, and it includes some pellets. We've got both hickory, that one's apple actually, and then we've got some hickory, and it comes with this little wedgie to put the chips in. This way we don't have to use any heat. We can just use the pellets to do the smoking so the cheese won't melt. So let's load up the wedgie and get the cheese on the barbecue, and we'll be right back. Okay, just before we head over the barbecue, let me tell you a little bit about the cheeses we're using, and we have to do a little prep work on one of them. So we have several wheels of cheese that we made. So we've got some cheddar cheese and Gouda. We've got a couple of reels of it. We've also got some handcrafted cheese from Morrisburg. And then we have, we're not absolutely certain what this cheese is actually, but it's kind of a Emmental style cheese. It's a little bit softer. We have 2 balls of mozzarella. So we also have a little bit of store-bought cheese. So we have some medium cheddar and a little bit of farmer's marble. And the last thing we have is some cream cheese. We're going to put a little bit of spice on this and put some slits in it as well. This is apt to stick to pretty much everything. So we're going to use a little bit of tin foil on the bottom and then just spray a little bit of cooking spray on top of that just to keep it from sticking. So let's start there, and then we'll get the cream cheese ready to go. So we're just going to add a little bit of cooking spray to the tin foil, and then we can set our cream cheese on it. And then we're just going to take the cream cheese and put a few scores in it. It'll allow the spices to get a little deeper into the cheese, and let the smoke get in a little further as well. So let's go ahead and do that. We're doing about maybe 1/4 inch deep on the slices. And we're just going to go kind of on a diagonal, and then we'll go the other way as well. This also makes for a little nicer presentation. Okay, so we're going to try a couple of different things with the cheese. We're going to, one of them, we're going to use a little Cajun spice and a little extra chipotle. We'll get that on this one. And make sure you get the whole thing. And then we're just going to add just a little bit of chipotle on top of that just to give it a bit of a kick. Okay, and the second one we're going to do is, this is a spice rub that we use for ribs and for smoked meat. So we're going to try a little of this on that as well. You'll see us make this mixture in an upcoming video, so I won't bother telling you what's in it now. All right, so that has the cream cheese ready, and we'll get the wedgie full of pellets, and we'll get the cheese onto the barbecue, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So as I mentioned, we picked up this little wedgie from Athens Hardware here in, oh, there's a card inside I better take out. From Athens Hardware here in Athens. We like to try and support small business as much as possible. So we'll fill this with a few chips, get her fired up, and we'll see how it works. As I mentioned before, the reason for using this is that although we do have a smoker, we don't want any heat when we're doing the cheese. All we want is the smoke. So this will keep the cheese from melting. I'm not absolutely certain how many pellets we should add, so I'm just going to fill it. And pop the lid on. And then we're just going to use a propane torch to fire it up. All right, so we got some smoke on the go. We'll close the lid. We'll come back in probably an hour or so, check to see how the pellets are doing. The whole process is going to take about 2.5 hours or so to give it a nice smoke flavor on everything that we have in here. So we'll check in again in about an hour.
"30 minutes later." Some more time later.
Okay, so we've taken the cheese off the barbecue. It's got a nice brown tinge to it now. I think I mentioned before that some of this cheese we've made. This actual reel right here we made back in July, and you will be able to see the video. We'll leave a link, I don't know where it goes, one side or the other, so that you'll be able to see how we actually make the cheddar cheese. So we can't test any of this right now because it's going to take about 2 weeks for it to age properly, for the smoke to actually penetrate all of the cheese, and it gets a little less smoky flavor on the outside. That being said, the cream cheese is ready to test, so we'll give it a little try and see what it's like. Oh man, that is so good. Perfect amount of smoke, the spices on it, give it a really nice flavor. This is going to be super good with some smoked salmon we'll be having tomorrow. So we filled the wedgie up a second time partway through cooking. We had about 2.5 hours to 3 hours of smoke. So, and it did a really good job actually. Once it was lit, it smoked perfectly through the whole thing with no extra heat or anything. It's given a really nice flavor to the cheese. You can see that all of the cheese just has that nice smoky looking flavor. So remember, if you wouldn't mind sharing, liking the video, and hit the notification tab, that would be absolutely amazing. And don't forget, first we cook, Then we, oh man, so good.